Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified business and executive coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in Southwest Ohio. You're going to love this message today to James Ferguson, a truly a serial entrepreneur leading a team that's innovating. Uh, his group, the Big Idea Group, is a strategic marketing branding firm, really an in-source solution for businesses to get to the next level. But also his innovation team has spun off a couple other businesses that are very intriguing that you're going to learn a lot more about today, as well as how does he manage, so many businesses, manage his time and his leadership within the business. So if you're new to the spotlight, we're thrilled to have you join us. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you can receive future messages like you're going to hear from James Ferguson here today. So without further ado, James Ferguson, CEO and founder of Big Idea Group, welcome to the spotlight. If you could take just a minute, introduce
Sure.
yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started in entrepreneurship and the Big Idea Group.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. Yeah, so I'm actually originally from South Africa. Grew up there. We lived in Bermuda. I ended up being sent to boarding school in Scotland at age 11. So that's where I got my first bit of independence. I was literally there for, 7 years at a place called Fettes College. Graduated there, went to Principia College in Elsa, Illinois, ran the newspaper, started a TV station, was going to end up in broadcast journalism. I was on my way to hopefully joining CNN at the time, and that was in '88. Ended up being visiting a sister in Cincinnati. Met the owner of an agency and got a job. And he's like, "Hey, I'll give you 35,000 versus what I was going to get 18,000 in Washington D.C."
Okay.
So it wasn't much of a hard decision at that point. So no broadcast, but went straight into marketing with no marketing degree, and was in the marketing industry in the traditional proverbial agency world for 32, 33 years, and ended up being with the same company. And we went through several sort of acquisitions. And in the last 5 years, I was based in New York and commuted from Cincinnati, literally leaving on a Monday, coming back on a
Yeah.
Thursday and Friday. And it just got a little too much. So when the company I was with, MKTG, got acquired by Dentsu, I then decided to exit, and it was about 10 years ago. And one of the big reasons was I wanted to be my own person, my own organization. I just didn't have the balls to do it because I had, kids in college and high school, and I'm like, what if X, Y, Z happens? So eventually I'm like, just do it. I had a year's salary paid. I had stock options that I was able to cash in. So I literally left on a Friday, and I opened Big Idea Group that next Monday. And I had a little booth in a friend's office, and I looked out and said, "What the hell have I done?" Because
Oh my God.
I
Oh
had,
my God, I'm in charge.
yeah, incredible. I mean, I'm in charge of nothing, literally a name. But it was so liberating because I actually owned something myself. And one of the biggest drivers of that was I don't like the word vendor. It drives me absolutely insane. Vendor means you're a commodity. And so on the agency side, I always wanted to be the decision maker. Most of the folks that I interacted would be the heads of marketing, would be CMOs. I'm like, I want that job. So Big Idea Group essentially then was born out of the need for me, to own my own thing, but to have fun in life. When you work for big corporations, yeah, there's security, but the process, well, I'm going to say maybe there's no security anywhere anymore, but the process, the bureaucracy, the politicking, all that crap was like, yeah, I'm done with that. I have no interest in that. Wouldn't it be great to create a company where great people with great ideas can do great things? And so behind me here is on the mantra, you can't really see it because I blurred it out, the board, but there is the statement, great people with great ideas can do great things. That is the mantra of Big Idea Group. And so what we've accumulated over the last 10 years, we have about 13 clients. We are insourced, which means that I sit on the leadership teams. I literally am the chief marketing officer of these clients. Some of them are 600, $700 million. Others are, 50 million and below. The common thread is about 80% B2B, which I much prefer than the traditional consumer marketing. I was in there for years. And there are privately held companies, folks looking to take a business from here to here. So I work directly for the CEOs. I have my team are literally the heads of marketing in those companies. There are some folks that are full-timers that report into me, and I sort of manage the strategy, but they're internally focused within the companies, but it's literally an insourced strategic firm. So we do all the strat plans, the strategic plans, the advertising, the social, the organic social, the creative, and then we execute from there. I don't do media. I have some media partners. I don't do web development. I have web development partners, but the proprietary knowledge and creativity we keep in-house. Everything else we sort of partner with. And so that's the premise of Big Idea Group. And that's the core of the business, which is the insourced marketing side. There are three others. There's the innovation side, which I know we're going to talk a little bit about. That's where the future, I always say wealth creation is probably going to come from innovations, because that's where we create our own brands. So in 2021, we launched Big Ice, which is an artisan ice, a bougie ice company. I know it sounds nuts that I'm freezing water and selling it to restaurants, and all my buddies, especially those at P&G, were like, "What the hell are you doing, Ferguson? It's the most perishable product in the world. What are you thinking?" Well, a lot of the naysayers now are sort of eating their words, because right today, this is what, 3-4 years later almost, we are one of the largest regional specialty ice manufacturers in the United States. Not the largest, but one of the large regional ones. And it's been a lot of fun. There's a whole story behind that. And then last year, I started Monkey Puzzles studio with two of my former employees who are now partners, minority partners. I had two incredible individuals that I knew at some point I'd lose because they would get antsy. They're very creative. So I said to them, well, what would your vision be for business? Because they love video, they love content, all that stuff. And they came back with a proposal, and they said, we want to go create a company where we just create incredible content. It could be for agencies, could be directly from brands. And I said, do it. So they came up with the name. We got the logo designed and everything through one of our partners, and off they went a year and a half ago. We broke even year one because I knew we had enough business to support it. And year two will be profitable, which will be great. But I'm really excited to blend the content piece with what we do at the Big Idea Group on the strategy piece, because now we're able to be what I call disruptors. We like to disrupt the marketplace, especially in the B2B segment. Everybody says the same stuff. So we like to disrupt. And I think having your own brands and living your own brands and managing your own brands actually helps you be a better marketer, because you actually appreciate delivery of the product, and you're not out there just promoting things and promising the world you can do whatever and saying, oh, they'll deal with it once the business comes in. Now you have to deal with both ends. So I think it gives you a greater appreciation of sort of the bigger picture in a business. So that's the innovations group. And then we've got investments. So my business partner, I'm 90% owner, but my business partner, Jamie, who's 10%, he and I will invest in startups. So I do some mentoring at the Founder Institute here locally in Cincinnati. And we will invest, in just different businesses, not huge numbers, but it keeps us alive and excited because we get to, see what others are doing. And then there's social good, which is the fourth area, which is we pick charities, one or two a year, and then we do the pro bono work. So, charities like Cincinnati Works here in Cincinnati, Drug-Free Clubs of America, which is based in Cincinnati. And I've also worked on the Dr. Mehmet Oz board as a board of advisor for years on HealthCore. And that's based out of, was in New York, now on the West Coast. So that's the social good piece. But where the action really is on the in-source marketing and on the innovation side. But it's been fun. It's never a dull moment, ever.
So you to build upon that, so you already mentioned a little bit around the insourced marketing group and some of your target customers, primarily B2B there, but maybe take a second on those other those innovation businesses that you have. So the Big Ice and the Monkey Puzzles, who would be target customers there?
Yeah, so Monkey Puzzles, any brand out there, whether you're a consumer brand or a B2B brand, but you have to be willing to push the envelope of creativity, because we not only do we bring the strategic sort of prowess of the brand and looking at the competitors and what their messaging is. So it's not just an execution company, there's strategy behind it. But what we will do is we'll push the branding and the creative to the next level. And I always say good content has to be highly relevant. It has to be disruptive and provocative in the marketplace, and it needs to be actionable. And so we really push our clients, both at Big as well as the Monkey Puzzles, to really think differently, but be bold in the marketplace. And most of the Monkey Puzzles could be a brand, could be an agency. It's any marketer or CEO looking to disrupt the marketplace with incredibly provocative and on-target messaging and content. And it's not for all, because we will push a little bit, and not crazily, because our mantra is always do no harm to the brands, but we'll push it in terms of the messaging and the positioning in the market. So that's sort of Monkey Puzzles.
Mhm.
And then Big Ice started about 5 years ago, actually, when I was at the Hutton Hotel in Nashville. And I was sitting at the bar, and I had this incredible bourbon with this clear crystal ice cube. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. So I said to the bartender, who makes this? And he goes, a guy called Matt. I said, well, do you know Matt? And he goes, yes, I know Matt. So I said, can I have his contact information? And he goes, sure. So I got his contact information, and I texted him right there. I said, hey, I'm James. I live in Cincinnati right now. I'm a marketer. I have an office down here. Love your ice. I would love to learn more. Boom. 5 minutes later, he goes, love you, man. Matt's one of these entrepreneurs. He's tattooed out the wazoo. He's owned bars and restaurants his whole life. He is the Nashville Bar Alliance chap in Nashville. He knows everybody, every restaurant, every bar. So I went to his shop the next day and in Nashville, and he loaded me up with three coolers of ice, just beautiful ice, different shapes, sizes. And I got in the car. And he said, the one thing you have to do is turn your window down, because if you don't, the carbon monoxide that comes off of the dry ice could make you go to sleep or whatever it is. I think it's carbon monoxide, or whatever it is, some gas. I was like, oh my God. So I had the windows down, driving to Cincinnati, which is about a 4-hour drive thereabouts. I remember coming to the hill above Cincinnati going, oh crap, where am I going to keep the ice? I have no freezer. We moved into Mount Adams, so there's a townhome, but there's no space for much. I called my son, who at the time was in his late 20s, Christopher, and I said, honey, can you meet me at Target? And he goes, because he has a truck. And he goes, what do you need me there for? I said, I'm going to buy a freezer. He goes, a freezer for what? I said, you'll find out. So we go to Target, we buy the freezer, literally before I go home. My poor wife's like, what are you doing? You got a freezer, 3 chests of what? Ice. So I had this whole thing going for about a year and a half. And one of my buddies said, in probably 2020, said, are you going to do anything with this thing? Because I'd always talked about doing, having my own ice company, because I just think it's incredible experience. And I had been fortunate to work with Diageo at MKTG, which was one of our largest clients previously. So I got into this whole experiential world. It's like, oh my God, this is really cool. And so I said, yeah, why not? So I named Big Ice literally after Big Idea Group. Big Idea Group, Big Ice. It was that simple. So we launched Big Ice in 2021. My initial thought was to be just a distributor and a marketer. I did not want to get into manufacturing. So I found manufacturing. So Matt helped us. We also had a couple of other manufacturers. And about a year in, I realized that, not even a year, 6, 7 months in, that the business model wasn't right. I was thinking there were crazy people like me who would sit in basements watching TV, drinking scotch or bourbon with ice. Well, the consumer market did not take off as quickly as I wanted. I had a subscription model. You could pay $50 to become a member, and then you get 20% off the ice. The vision was you have drop-off locations, you pick up your ice and all that stuff. Well, it became very obvious rather quickly that this was much more of a hospitality play. So we pivoted, went 99.9% to hospitality. And 3 years later, we have over 300, don't know the exact number of customers, restaurants, bars, venues for weddings, hotels, where we're developing specialty cubes. And what we've done is we've taken what others have done, which is basically the clear ones. We named them all: the rock, the block, the ball, the stick. I mean, we gave every SKU a name. And then we ended up investing in CNC machines. We eventually bought a company up in Fort Wayne, Indiana called Cubicle Ice, which is our primary manufacturing facility. We tripled the size of the facility. We moved into another one last June. And we're producing about 35,000 cubes a week. Half of them are clear, clear without logos or anything on them. The others are what we call engraved. So what we do is you take the ice, once the blocks are ready to roll, you get a CNC machine, and you have to have the right bits. And the CNC literally draws out the logos, and you can get intricate logos. You can do your initials, you can do a graphic, I mean, whatever. And it goes in there, and the CNC drills in, and then the snow that comes out of it is repacked, and then we seal it. So you have about that much room of ice, frozen ice above the snow. So this beautiful logo literally floats. You don't see the ice, you just see your logo. It's incredible. So we call those the engraved stones. Hotels, restaurants love it because they put their own little signature. Like locally, we have Sodo and Boca, love them. Jeff Ruby's, we have the JR on the Jeff Ruby's ice. It's been incredible, and it's about half and half engraved, half just generic, whatever it is, just clear. But we're now in Cincinnati, Columbus, Indianapolis, Louisville, and Lexington. And then we have an agreement with Matt because he goes up to Knoxville, and we're not going to go further down to Knoxville or below. We have that agreement with him. We're not going to compete against one of our buddies because we actually work together. So a lot of these companies are not into the engraving. Most of them are either born out of a restaurateur or a bartender, or it has come out of you're an ice carver and you're doing ice carvings and you get into the cubes. And that's how these businesses work. And there's tons of little companies around the United States that do this, but they don't bring the scale, the marketing, the service, the infrastructure behind what we're doing now to enable to service 5 markets now. We just picked up another van, logistics. I'm turning into a logistics company. That's no longer just about the ice. It's like, how do you get this thing within 14 days? Because most of our products are used in 14 days.
Yeah.
35,000 cubes to over 300 restaurants, and without melting. It's quite interesting. So my son Charlie actually runs the company, which is fantastic. So he's done a great job.
All right. And I've encouraged our viewers to go check drinkbigice.com just to see some of the examples. They're beautiful. If obviously if you own a bar, a restaurant, a hotel, they could be a great way to amplify your brand. Also, if you're just a cocktail or bourbon connoisseur,
Yeah.
you're gonna love it. All right. Even if you want sports teams logos engraved in there or your own personal initials or that. Just beautiful. So folks, check it out. Great idea. And another great idea born from an experience in a bar. So we have to like that, right? So
Yeah. But it's really fun because it becomes the talking piece of a party. I mean, it just differentiates the restaurants, etc., and takes an experience from here to here. It literally just elevates the experience. And our goal was to literally improve the cocktail experience and elevate it in every market that we touch. And if you think about bars and restaurants, when you go to a city, what's the most intro that you get into it? The experience you get. It's the bar or the restaurant, right? That is where you end up at some point as a visitor to a city, and to have these experiences is incredible. And what's funny is I call it the tipping point, because once enough saturation happens in a marketplace, the quality becomes the norm, the next norm. If you don't have it, it's like, oh, you're not with it. And we've actually now created big ice. That term is on Google now. If you don't have big ice, you have what we call shitty ice. And what we term shitty ice is ice that's not clear. So you can either have shitty ice that you can do at home, or you do it in your restaurant, or you can have big ice. So we want the bougie ice to be called like Kleenex, is on tissue, is big ice is to ice. And that's really what the goal is. So if it's
Yeah.
not big ice, then it's shitty ice.
So what are your keys then to getting that word out, right? To your marketing strategy
As
that
much
is
as
working.
much trial as possible. You give trial, 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 trial. Once people see it and experience it, it's hard not to. So trial is the most important thing. But I will tell you, the restaurant business is a little scary because the turnover of GMs, and again, I don't know what the statistics is, but I know they're high in terms of the number of restaurants that actually go out of business every year. So you do get the churns of the GMs as they move around. But then what the positive is they like you, they take
Yeah.
you to their new restaurant.
Yeah.
So we've actually benefited from them. But what we found, Todd, there are really four, well, actually five key principles. One is safety. You got to keep your employees safe. We've got chainsaws, we've got all sorts of stuff going on in the facilities. The second thing is service. You have to be way ahead of your customers. Most of the customers don't even order every week. We take care of what we call just-in-time inventory. So we'll literally go in and check their freezers in terms of what they've used the week before. And over time, you just get to know. And we automatically replenish. And then we invoice over fintech. So from a cash flow perspective, I get the money paid in 3 days. I mean, I literally will do it. Charlie will do the invoicing on the Friday, and I think the money comes in Tuesday, Wednesday, electronically, which is fantastic. So cash flow doesn't become an issue, and that really helped us reinvest. When we've taken nothing out, the investors, and there's three of us, and I'm the majority investor, and there's two others. We have only reinvested in the company year after year. But that service piece is critical. No delivery fees. We have to own the last mile, so we will never ever subcontract the delivery of the product because you're now with the customer. But service, 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 and the ice costs what it costs. There is no delivery fee. If you need it rushed, we will rush it if we can. We don't charge extra for that crap. That's the problem with a lot of vendors in the food service. There's always these hidden weird fees, and so I'm like, no, the ice is the ice. We rarely come down in price, rarely, because the whole point is to grow the business, not get the cheaper product, which means you can add $1 to the cocktail, et cetera, because people look at the experience and they're willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
So you pass that cost on to the consumer. But that was the service piece. The third piece is innovation. You got to continue to innovate. So we're doing spheres now with 3D images in them. We've explored color. Color is a little tricky. When you slow freeze the ice, it takes 3 days to make the ice in time-bound machines. But we're trying different things. Colors, I mean, could we put vitamin D, vitamin C? Could you put electrolytes in ice so while you're enjoying your cocktail, you don't get drunk? I don't know. There's a lot of other innovations. Right now, we just came out with seven SKUs, plus the engraving, plus the spheres with the 3D images. So that's enough innovation for now. But I'm constantly pushing the team to say, what's next, down the road, and what is differentiating that nobody else can do. Anybody can get into this business, but it's very hard to grow it and maintain it. And it's an art and a science. To operate CNC machines in frozen environments is incredibly tough. It also takes a tough CNC machine to do that. You're literally in sub-freezing temperature. Yeah. The right bits to do the right cutting is a whole nother science. So you have to learn all the stuff so you can get into it. But if you don't have the knowledge or the science behind it, it's problematic. So we're going to continue to push ahead. But beyond the piece that was really the innovation, then is also the marketing support behind it. So we provide our customers with having big idea group co-marketing stuff. So we are promoting them. We're promoting Big Ice through their social channels. So whenever we negotiate deals, not with every bar, with every brand, but we want to do some co-marketing because then it helps us. So if everybody knows that Jeff Ruby's or Boca or Soto has Big Ice, that's a good thing for us, right? So not only good for the consumer, but it's good for the industry. Say, if they're dealing with them, we would like to deal with Big Ice. When we got Cameron Mitchell That was about a year ago. That transformed the business, and that's based out of Columbus. So we handle all the Cameron Mitchell restaurants now. So it's just, as I went to earlier, that tipping point only comes with the safety, only comes with the innovation, the commitment to quality, and then the service. And then you bolt on the marketing support. Now you have a really different, robust offering, and you're unlike any other supplier. Who's going to come in and offer marketing support? And you're like, what the
Yeah.
hell? You're a nice manufacturer. You know what I'm saying? The service is really important because you never have to worry about your inventory. Once you set those levels, we take care of it. If you have an outage, if you have more customers come in, call us. We'll be there. We're not going to charge you extra fees and all that stuff. So relationships are really important to us. And that's what's been successful with Big Ice.
Love those core principles. I encourage our viewers to probably hit rewind and make sure if you didn't take a notes, take notes about that. Some great insights, lessons learned on how to differentiate yourself.
I go all over the place, so I apologize. I know.
So James, you've walked through the business model, from you're really starting with, the big idea group, but having innovations, which now spun off a couple other businesses, investments, your social impact area. Dude, I'm tired just listening to you juggling all that. So, what are your keys to how do you manage all that, lead all those groups?
But number one, I love to be kept busy. The worst thing is sitting at home having nothing to do. It drives me insane. So I'm a natural ADHD, keep busy chap. So number one is you have to be able to multitask. You have to like a challenge. Every day is filled with something, either an employee issue or a new client opportunity or something. I mean, you're just juggling a lot. And then you're the CMO of these brands too. So you've got your own businesses and then you've got all the other stuff to manage. So I found just a few things. Number one is I don't sleep much, which is much to the detriment of my poor wife of 36 years. Number two is hire the right people. I've been very fortunate to have had incredible folks, which is part of the mantra of great people with great ideas can do great things. I do believe if you can figure that out, and not just on the employee side, but your partner side in terms of your strategic partners, as well as your clients, and get the right clients, it's really important, then anything is possible. And I do believe that if you find the right people, you give them enough process, not process for process sake. That's why I don't work in big companies because they will drive me. I'd literally get fired in the first week, I'm sure. But have enough process that you need, and then let people do what they need to do, and provide them with the resources to do it. And so that's really been the philosophy. But you got to hire the right people and have the right clients. And when you have that relationship that's based on trust, initiative, you get 300% out of people. You just do because they're passionate about what they are doing. They feel appreciated because you have great clients or customers on Big Ice, and you're creating magic. You're literally in Big Idea Group helping a business grow, which creates opportunities for everybody. At Big Ice, we're elevating the cocktail experience and making life better for people on the hospitality side. And in Monkey Puzzles, we're making creative better. We're challenging brands to think differently and smarter. So you're having an impact on disrupting the marketplace a little bit. Because I'll tell you, traditional agencies do not like what I do because I know how that game works. I was in it for many, many years. Billables and markups on printing and blah, blah, blah. None of that markup and any of that crap happens when you're the CMO. You buy everything at cost and you turn that at cost over to the client. So you get extra spend. There's no 15% markups, none of that stuff. You're doing everything the way a CMO should, but you know what happens on the agency side, so you avoid the pitfalls. And I'm not saying that the agencies are bad, but I think it's an ancient model that I think those in the traditional agency business will eventually go out of business because, and you'll see more niche firms and models like I'm creating because clients want value, not by the hour, value in terms of results, the value in terms of changing cultures. We do a lot of purpose, mission, core value stuff as well. I mean, it's just, we look at the whole entity, the whole brand of deliver the promise every single day from a cultural standpoint. So we're trying to connect everything together. And if you do that for brands, you can do it for yourself.
So, so as we sit here, I'm curious, And you talked about always loving a challenge, right?
Mhm.
So what's the challenge you have in front of you as we sit here today that you and the team are trying
Time,
to solve?
time.
Time.
I want more hours in the day. Todd, can you make that happen? No, I'm serious because my guilt factor is not spending enough time on not my own businesses. Because the core is big idea group marketing. As a CMO, I'm building brands, and sometimes I have to put mine on the back burner because
Yeah.
of my clients, and I feel bad about that. So the next phase of big now is, and I've been told my CEO group at Vistage and et cetera for years, bugged the crap out of me to say, you got to go get like a super admin. So I'm actually in the process of interviewing and hiring. Think of this person as the chief of staff. So this person would essentially take scheduling, calendars, HR stuff, timesheets, I mean, all that stuff, invoicing and blah, 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 all that stuff away from me. Even though I have an accountant, etc. My son, Charlie, who runs Big Ice, and then Drew and Mitch, who run Monkey Puzzle. So I'm going to have this person work across all three companies as a senior admin person who understands marketing, understands branding, but is extremely organized. The opposite of me.
Okay, yes.
So
Fill your gaps, right?
exactly. So I'll be the crazy person with whiteboards and padded rooms and say, what if, why not? And this person, helps keep the trains running. So, and in addition to that, we continue to hire clearly account managers and on the Monkey Puzzle side, we just hired an additional producer, videographer. So, we'll continue to hire those. But I think this chief of staff, admin, super admin role will help free me up 35% of my time so I can go re-engage back in my businesses. Because I really want to spend a day a week on each of my businesses. I would love to do that. When I say Monkey Puzzles and Big Ice, the rest is all Big Idea Group. And these aren't 40-hour weeks. These are 80, 90-hour weeks. So you can get a lot done, but you still need to spend time during the workday with your team. And that becomes a challenge. So that's probably my biggest one in a
Okay.
nutshell. Time.
Time and with the team. So yeah, love that. And you see this all the time, right? Where the ceiling on the business is the
Yep.
work hours of the CEO or the owner, right? All the time.
Right.
So
Right. And I
James
also,
is
yeah, one final comment. You have to also get out of your mode as a CEO of being too controlling. That's been the biggest challenge for me, to be honest with you. I was a micromanager for years. They called me the typhoon. I'd come in and I'd just create havoc, apparently, at the different offices because all these ideas and blah 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 blah, blah. And they're like, "Oh my God, will this guy was like slow down?" So I've tried to be calmer, more clear, and then having the team do what they do without putting too much pressure on it and letting them go, letting them do what they need to do. That's been the toughest thing for me because you're the brand, right? And you want to
yeah.
control everything, but you can't. Get the right people and let them go do. And then the mantra actually works. Great people with great ideas can do great things. But for years, I was such a control freak. I'm like, well, why don't you just read your mantra and live
Okay.
it?
Love it. So James, our time flies here on the spotlight here as well. So many great lessons learned, keys to success you've already shared here with folks. I'm curious, what are the best ways for folks to stay connected with you and the Big Idea Group and your other business lines as well?
Yeah, they can just either just give me a call or just send me an email, James at thinkbigideagroup.com. By the way, I couldn't get big.com. I couldn't get bigideagroup.com. So I said, to hell with it. Go with thinkbigideagroup.com. And that's what I've used. It's rather long, but and then if you want to check out the brands, Big Ice, drinkbigice.com, .com, and then Monkey Puzzles dot. I can't even remember. I don't think that the .com. There's some dot whatever Monkey Puzzles, but if you Google it, you'll find it. And then Big Idea Group is thinkbigideagroup.com.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I'll be glad to chat with people. I'm on LinkedIn. I love to be part of CEO groups, entrepreneur groups. I like to do mentoring and startups. So I just learn more from others actually, which is why I like to do what I'm doing here is connect with other business leaders because I think you learn from each other,
Mhm.
and makes you better as a person. And most importantly, have fun. If you're not doing what you love and you're not having fun, get out. do something different. You got to have fun.
All right. So, James, what are you inspired by today as we wrap up our conversation?
I'm inspired by where the companies are. I'm inspired by where they can go. We're at this crazy time where all three companies now are profitable. I mean, Big Ice was not profitable for the first 3 years, as you could imagine. Was, we were break even last year, and we were significantly profitable this year. Same with Big. Big's always been profitable and grown 10 to 15%. Monkey Puzzles will be in the black. We broke even our first year. So it's good to see all the businesses now not requiring cash infusion. And now is the time to really light the fire in terms of letting the innovation come into its own in all three brands. And that's what excites me. And it's not me doing it, it's the people doing it. I mean, we were at the Christmas party and we had what, 50 people there? I'm like, oh my God, we have 50 people. Well, the reality is we have almost like 30 people within the three companies. And you just don't even think about that. It's like I had no idea how many employees we literally had at Big Ice, and which are the majority of them. And so it was very humbling at the party. And I'm like, oh my God. I said to my wife, I said, these are our companies. And so, and you got spouses, you got kids, you got brothers, sisters. I mean, he was responsible for a lot of people. And it was like very humbling, actually. I was like, oh my God. And so I'm just excited about the future and what it can hold. And there are a couple of other brands we're thinking and percolating about, but we don't do too much. Otherwise, I'm always a big believer in managed growth. If you do this and this, you end up going out of business. You really want that managed growth. And that's what I'm looking most forward to. So.
All right. Well, James Ferguson, thank you for sharing your story. So many lessons learned here. Great insights for the entrepreneurs, business owners listening to this to take and build from it. Clearly, you can just feel your passion for growth, for your team, innovation
Yeah,
is right there.
it's
So,
fun.
but thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
And all the contact information for folks, you can see it in the show notes that we'll provide attached with the video as well. So,
Wonderful.
right.
That was fun.
So, all right, to our viewers, thank you for joining us today. Hope you took great notes. We're thrilled to have you join us. If you haven't already, again, encourage you to hit that subscribe button so you can receive future messages, and also hit like on this episode. It helps us get the message out, and we appreciate that as well. And with that, thank you, and hope you all have a terrific day.